You know, I like to start with this song, Eternal the Prayer. It's so powerful. And a good way to start the program, Women's Resource Outreach Center, Rock. And of course, we say good morning to all the staff and all the members. And in particular, Women's Empowerment Group, We Group, and all the listeners that are out there, those who are participating. We say thank you so much for being here. As we go into another program, the theme, you don't know GBV, I feel with business, I feel with concern. You know, I don't have my ladies in the studio, but I do have a gentleman, right, who is online, zooming in. Calman Barrett, board member from Rock, and we're looking forward to having Jamaica Aid Support for Life, Mr. Wait a minute, it's for your brothers today? Mr. Patrick Laylor, Advocacy Officer. All right, so this week's topic is improving and encouraging a culture of inclusivity in Jamaica to end GBV. So it's good to have the brothers as well in the house because they also have this experience. So we say, good morning, good morning, good morning, Mr. Barrett.
Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning to the listeners.
How are you doing this morning, Mr. Barrett?
I am doing very well.
No, Mr. Barrett, you must say, I am rootsy. Absolutely.
I am rootsy.
I know you are. I know you are. So we're not going to see your video come up this morning? We'd love to have your video up. Is that a possibility?
Let me give it a try.
I'm only hearing you, but we're not seeing you. But welcome, welcome, welcome. As I said before, we're looking forward to having Jamaica Aid Support for Life, Mr. Patrick Laylor, Advocacy Officer, specializing in human rights, policy, and advocacy, all right? Yes, Mr. Barrett. So those persons who want can call in 658-208-8512. That's 658-208-8512. Give us a call. Ask questions, make statements. Also, we should be live on our Roots FM Facebook page as well. So we look forward to that. So, Mr. Barrett, let's kick it off. Right? Once again, the topic, improving and encouraging a culture of inclusivity in Jamaica to end GBV. All right. So I'm going to invite you to give an introduction about, yourself and you being a board member, of course, for at Rock, how long you've been doing this, and what does the organization mean for you or to you?
I have been on the board of Rock for probably over 10 years now.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I was invited on the board. Rock, one of their mandate is to ensure that their organization is inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
So they go in search of finding men who wishes to serve on their board.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I was get accepted on the board, because I'm willing to serve.
Right.
On a board that is a board that is focused on women's rights.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you said it's almost 10 years now since you've been on the board?
Yes, probably. Yeah, so it should be over 10 years.
Over 10 years now, right.
Yeah.
So take us through your journey a bit. I know just a synopsis as to, what it's been like for you. What are some of the high points? What are some of the low points along this journey of 10 years at Rock?
It has been a very informative years for me. In that, getting involved in an organization that primarily focus on women, and my whole feelings towards what is happening in our society in respect to women in terms of gender violence, and to get myself to participate and to help to encourage, in particular, young men within our community as to how to behave and how to act with women was, as I say, that very interesting to me, and I'm very self-worthy, self-accusation, self-satisfying, right? To actually get involved, directly involved, and get in
on the board,
dealing with young men in particular.
Right. Yeah. And also, to be on a board where it's mainly women, right? How many male
Yes.
members are there on the board for Rock?
How many men?
Yes, approximately.
Presently is 2.
Wow, you and another brother.
Yes. Well, Rock mandate is to have a sort of 60-40 ratio.
Yes.
That they are working towards that, in achieving that. At some point in
Okay.
time, we will achieve
You'll
that.
achieve that, right?
To ensure
Right.
that,
But for now, it's 2. For now, it's
it is,
2 of
it
you.
is more balanced.
Right, right. So you're talking about young men out there, because wow, it's not an easy task, especially with the young men out there now that are can be so distracted. And then not only that, but a lot of times people don't understand that young men, when you say gender-based violence, it includes male and female, not just females. How has Rock dealt with this over the years, especially with dealing? Just elaborate a bit. You mentioned them, the young men, but how you in particular have been able, or Rock in general, I should say, has been able to handle this, and where are the shortfalls, and where are the good stories? Because I know there are good stories out there too.
Rock do a lot of educational programs, right? They reach out in particular to the grassroots, where it is seen.
I'm
Not
sorry,
that
to the
it is
what?
seen that is where majority of the gender violence experiences. So we're in a community, Greenwich Winners community that comprises of Jamestown, section of Arnett Gardens, back to Slide Pen Roads. That sort of community that
right.
we operate in. And as I said, the stigma is out there that these are the areas where a lot of the gender-based violence is experiencing.
And you say stigma. I understand, but let have the viewer and listener understand why you say stigma. That word is
no, because it's not only there.
Exactly.
It's all over.
All over.
Right. But as I said, that we're operating in that area, and we tried our best to educate the young ladies and men and women on the whole.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Teach them the skills that will empower them in life.
What are and that is a plus for Rock. What are some of the shortfalls in dealing with the brothers in particular?
It's a challenge reaching out to the young men in particular.
Why so?
I think we need more resources to assist us, right, in getting to reach them. But men on a whole, I don't know. They are not attracted to organization. We have one or two of them will come, but majority of them will not come.
Right.
I think there are not other things that are occupying them.
Of course.
And I think that we need a more persons on board to really assist us in doing what we are doing.
The situation, of course, is not an easy one, but with the kind of educational programs that you have, I know you over the years there have been quite a few of them. How does that draw them in? Something that they might like and they want to learn more about, and it's being presented there at Rock. Does that make a big difference? Because you said you need more resources. Do you need more resources to bring more of those skill sets in?
Yes. Areas that we know will definitely attract young men in particular. We are focusing on, we have a homework center that we do assist the young boys and girls after school, right? We are now partnering hard to have a skill training taking place there.
Right.
So we are looking at skills that will attract what young men and young women, and that will help to get them closer to us to inform them and empower them with their life skills.
Right. I'm saying this, but it's a mammoth task, for both males and females, because, we're thinking about the many distractions there, which includes the social media. The social media has its pros and cons, as you know.
Yes.
But it is like, even with adults, not only young people now, you walk around, you might go into a restaurant, you go to an activity, whatever. There's hardly any communication. Everybody's head is down on the phone, in the phone.
The entire society is changing.
The whole society. So yeah, it's not just the young people, but in that area in particular, there's so many distractions. And in particular, the phone does it.
And they are distracted with the negatives.
And unfortunately, some of them are distracted with the negatives. Yeah. So that's why I keep saying it's a mammoth task. Yeah. A mammoth task, Mr. Barrett.
Well, it's a task that we won't give up on.
No. We can't afford to give up on it at all, not at all. Is Mr. Layla on? Mr. Layla, are you there? Not seen Mr. Layla yet. All right, but so we'll continue. What about the Rock's work in the community now to combat the gender-based violence? How is that working out?
I think we are making some stride, and as I said earlier, that we are bringing in programs that will definitely attract more of the young men and women that will be able to reach out to more of them to help to teach them and show them the way and help to reduce the.
So can you be more specific in terms of what the that's what I really want to find out. What were the programs that you're utilizing for the gender-based in particular violence?
We have different personnel coming in.
Yes.
To speak on different topics at times.
Yes.
Right. We set up these programs and invite the community to come in, and we have different persons come in and speak to them on gender violence and just about how to operate within the community that they are living in.
Right.
And get feedback from them as to what they are experiencing. And how we can help them.
Very important.
Overcome what they are experiencing in the community.
In terms of feedback, 'cause that's very important, because they say sometimes the young men don't communicate as much as the women in some case, the girls in some of the cases. So what kind of feedback would you say you would have gotten, and how do you utilize that feedback now to assist in bringing in other maybe motivational speakers, any more workshops and so forth? What kind of feedback in general, for the most part, you get back from the young men?
Well, most of the feedbacks we have to get from young men is that they want work.
But you have to have skills.
That is one of the.
They want work. Yes.
Yeah, they need work. They need things to do. And that's one of the reasons why we even reach out to Heart,
right,
to get them to be on board, to see if we can bring the skill set that they need in the area and help them.
Yes. So when that is already, I'm trying to remember, is that already in existence, the Heart programs, or it's to come?
It is soon be in existence.
All right. So
we're actually doing it, fixing up the center now, and then the program will start soon.
All right. Can you just give me an idea as to, if you know, what some of those programs will be? Some of those, what are they going to be teaching? Some of them.
I know electrical, computer.
Very
good. That's in IT.
Right.
I'm trying to remember the program for hotels is. What they call it.
Oh, yes.
There's a name that they call it. But
yes.
It's to train young men and women
for the tourism industry. Yes.
Because primarily now we have there's a demand for persons in the IT, that is the call centers.
Yes.
And for persons for hotels.
For the hotels, yes. A lot of
also going oversee to the Canadian programs. So the demand in that area.
In those areas as well. Right.
Toward the primary area that Rock is focusing on, and with other skill set like electrical.
And how soon do you think that those projects through Heart will start?
It will start in another month or two.
Oh, good. Good. Yeah. So we definitely going to get some feedback after that project starts to find out, and it will be great that you have some of the students, the young men or women in the community come as well in studio, to talk to us more about that as well.
Okay.
We can accommodate that, or even on Zoom. We can accommodate that. So, Mr. Barrett, as a senior member of ROC, what is your vision for the organization for ROC? What is it that you maybe want to implement, or you think that something could be done in a different way, or to enhance something that's already there?
My vision for ROC is to see ROC and the work that ROC is doing expand beyond just the community that we are in, but to probably right across the island. I would love to see we partner with some civic society group, the churches, the schools, the private sector organization at Jamaica, right, to see if we can expand the program in order to reduce gender violence, which is a monster in our country.
Yes, definitely. And that word you utilize there, monster, it certainly is. It's a big issue. And, there's so many, when I analyze and think about it, as we are in the heart of the inner city here, Coburn Gardens, Roots of and Mustard Seed, I see myself, a lot of young people in the community, and, we have to eradicate this myth to a certain extent that nothing good can come out of the ghetto. That's a big lie.
That's a big lie.
That's a big lie.
And I can tell you that.
Yes,
my experience.
Yes. How you can tell me? Tell me how you're telling me.
No, because I am not actually, because as I said to persons, ghetto is the mind of the people, not the place.
Right.
So I am actually from out of the rural parish, but I have experience in when I leave college, I start teaching in the inner city. And I taught a number of students, and to date, a lot of them, when I see them on the road, and I say, "Sir, I am up there. I am up there."
Yes.
I said, and where they are coming from.
Right.
So there are a lot of, but even look back at a lot of our musicians. Where are they from?
Yes, and a lot of them are from around here, all over the inner city. Our entertainers and our athletes. Let's not leave out our athletes. We think about just up the road there, Shelley and Fraser coming out of Waterhouse. And so many others who are doing exceptionally well and now role models for others.
Yeah.
So I really believe, I really like the idea of those the workshops and having some of these same people come in too, workshops and so forth, so they can understand that, listen, it can be done. It's hard work, because I even remember Usain Bolt saying, a lot of time, and a lot of them say, to wake up in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning for go training is not really what we want to do.
Not an easy task.
It's not easy, but you got to do it, because if you don't train,
you want to achieve certain things.
So these young people have to understand this, that yes, it is possible. We have to work hard, and we have to be disciplined. It's a venture of discipline, hard work, and respectability for yourself, your community, and your family. Very, very important. So I really applaud
hard work and humility.
Very much so, with that humility as well. So it is needed, as you're right. I say you're from the rural area, but we need to have ROC right now is to be aligned, or you have other ROCs across Jamaica. And I think eventually this is something that should be implemented. I know it's not easy, even just to have one ROC, but of course there needs to be more, because there's so many young people in the rural areas and in the inner city who, need the support. They need the help. They need the skill sets, and the thing is, I personally believe in skill sets, it's not to say, well, boy, I think that all students should be a part of the skill sets program, no matter what school you go to. Because at the end of the day,
I believe that myself.
Yes,
I think for us as a developing country,
technical schools.
We should have technical education should be included
Yes.
in every single school,
Every
in
single
every person's
school.
life, because
Yes.
that's the only way we can develop.
Because and it's not everybody is cut out for to become like a teacher, a lawyer,
Right.
a journalist,
Lawyer,
or whatever.
doctor.
And
It must be exposed to them,
yes, it can be, of
so
course.
they have a choice. They have a choice.
Right, exactly.
So I think that
And I think that when that
technical
happens,
education should be there.
yeah, and that when that happens, they are in tune to also getting to understand what their passion is. So parents and caregivers also have a responsibility, Mr. Barrett, because a lot of times parents feel, well, if you're not trained to become a doctor, a lawyer, or Indian chief, then other things don't really matter. That's a hobby, they'll say, but that's not a profession. And my personal belief is that we have to encourage young people to pursue their passion, because when they pursue
Right,
their passion, they'll make money.
I was saying that I think it's how the society are socialized,
Yes.
in that lawyers, doctors, teachers, police, these are the profession that they was grown up knowing.
Right.
And today there are far more
Oh, yes.
professions than what you can think about.
Yes.
Right. And I think that in the schools, what the schools, their education program should do is to expose the children to all of these professions so they can make choices. Let them know about it.
So here we are on Roots FM 96.1 on the FM band. It's the Women's Resource Outreach Center and the Women's Empowerment Group. And the theme, of course, gender-based violence, of who business of who we're concerned. And this week's topic, improving and encouraging a culture of inclusivity in Jamaica to end GBV. Very, very, very important topic. And I've had Mr. Calman Barrett on talking to us about this. I'm not seeing Mr. Layla. I'm not seeing him on yet. And I don't.
I have been here for about 10 minutes to 15 minutes now. I was wondering if I'm
No,
not
I called you. No. I mean, Mr. Barrett can back me up on this. More than one time
Definitely
I've said.
so. You have been
Mr.
asking for him.
Yes, I've been saying, Mr. Layla, are you there?
More than 15 minutes ago.
Yes, absolutely. But anyway, welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good.
Wonderful. Of course, I did your introductions. And of course, Mr. Barrett and I have been having an ongoing conversation, as you would have heard. The topic now, as we said, once again, I will repeat it. Where are we now? Well, I can't. Improving and encouraging a culture of inclusivity in Jamaica to end gender-based violence. So, talk to us a bit about your work. You have a member of JASL, and we welcome you. Talk to us a bit about your views on the topic this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
I'm from Jamaica AIDS Support for Life, and while we are HIV-focused human rights organization, gender-based violence is a critical issue for us, and it's an issue in which we do a lot of investment and a lot of work, both financial and human resources, because for us and our organization's mandate in ending AIDS by 2030, a critical part of that is addressing gender-based violence, which the data and the research shows has a strong correlation between people experiencing gender-based violence, becoming HIV positive, particularly sexual violence, and also people who are HIV positive experiencing gender-based violence as a result of their status. So we say that GBV is both a cause and effect of HIV. As a result of GBV, people become HIV positive, and as a result of being HIV positive, they experience GBV. So I just wanted to make the link, if anybody is wondering what Jamaica AIDS Support for Life has to do with GBV.
Yes. Very important.
There's a critical connection between the two. And just for people to understand that, gender-based violence come in different forms, and sexual violence is one of them. and we know that HIV is a sexually transmitted infection. So this is very important for us. The issue of gender on a whole and inclusivity, as you reiterated, the topic is very critical for us. We operate an organization that inclusivity is a part of our core. Inclusivity is very critical to us. We take a deliberate effort to ensure, even in our employment strategies or company policies, that we are as inclusive as can be. So this is something very, very critical for us. Whether it be inclusivity around gender, disability, health status, we ensure that we are very inclusive in what we do.
Can you expound a bit more on that, Mr. Layla, in terms of ensuring that the programs are inclusive? I know you're mentioning it, but can you elaborate a bit more on that?
So, for example, we have programs, and I want listeners to understand that as we talk about gender-based violence, that this is something that affects all genders. So
I'm sorry, Mr. Layla, are we able to get you on video?
Sure.
Yeah, please, because people are watching. I know they want to see who's talking to them, and we're live on our Facebook page. Yes, thank you so much. All right, here we go. Great.
Right.
Continue, please.
Right. So, as I was saying, when we talk about gender-based violence, I want our listeners to understand that this is something that affects both men and women.
That's it.
So, it's not we have moved away from just violence against women, which is still critical.
Of course.
We know women are more disproportionately affected, but gender-based violence. So when we talk about inclusivity in our programs, we ensure that our programs recognize gender disparity, and we have programs specifically targeted for women, programs specifically targeted for men. But we look at women in all their forms and with all the other things that may be attached. So, for example, as an HIV-focused organization, we operate clinics. We have women with disabilities who attend our clinic. We have women who are hearing impaired or deaf who attend our clinic. So one of the things we do, you will know that we have a special clinic session where hearing impaired and deaf people can come. And alongside our clinical staff is an interpreter to ensure that they can communicate properly what is happening there with the doctor. So I want people to think about inclusivity in a broad sense, especially when we touch the issue of gender. It's not just quotas and making sure that you have equal opportunity for women
and female, yes.
But it's also understanding all the other nuances that people come with and looking at your services to ensure that how do you include a person with a disability?
Yes,
how do you ensure that your program caters for them? So that is basically what we do and whatever it takes to ensure that whatever someone's disposition is, they can access our services, communicate with our team, and clearly get the service that they want. We look at all these other areas when it comes to
excellent. What are some of the challenges that you have, as an organization that's dealing with marginalized groups? Because I know they're out there, but, you can list some of them, please.
Right. The challenges are, we could use the rest of this program to be just listing challenges and not finish.
Yes,
but, let me talk about the key one. Most of the challenges we face are rooted in stigma and discrimination.
I figured, yeah.
And that is because the marginalized populations we serve, the different groups that are at a high risk of contracting HIV, we serve women who are survivors of gender-based violence. We serve people living with HIV, and these people are sometimes stigmatized. There are people out there who think, when you talk about a person living with HIV, some of the challenges, and that is why a part of our organization is also a legal unit, because the matters get so bad at times that they become legal challenges. We have to end up in court.
Yes.
So you have someone who is with a company for 10, 15 years, performing very well. And because of some breach of confidentiality, it comes out that they are HIV positive, and then they are just haphazardly dismissed.
Dismissed, yes. Wow. And so
And
that you have to end up going to
those
court
matters.
now after with something like that, discrimination.
Right. There are women who are survivors of gender-based violence, and people look down on them and think, why did you sit and allow a man to do that to you?
Yes,
You are
yes.
working. And people don't understand the nuances of gender-based violence. That you have so many women in these situations. There's the children to consider. Sometimes the breadwinner, the abuser is the
The
breadwinner.
breadwinner, yes.
Sometimes they have no other source of support. So we try to make our program so supportive in addressing these challenges, while we'd want to say to every woman who is experiencing gender-based violence, pack up and leave now. We
Not
have a
that
program
easy.
that appreciates people where they are, work with them where they are, and help them to get to where we want them to.
Yeah, for sure. What I know there must be quite a few stories that could jump out at you. You could say, well, boy, this is really worth the while. If you could give me one of those stories in relation to, like someone who has gender-based violence and is a part of your group, your marginalized group, what would you say recently has jumped out for you to say, well, yeah, this is worth the while to be doing this?
We, on November 25th, each year, the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, we have a campaign that has been running for the past 10 years, where on that day every year we have a silent protest.
Yes.
We march through the streets. Our last staging last year, we marched from New Kingston to, and Rock has been a part of
Oh, yes.
this
I remember
initiative,
that when we were on the program
over
last
the
year.
years.
Yes, yes.
Right. And we, I always remember the story of this vendor who was in Halfway Tree, just doing her business, peddling her wares, one year when we were having the march. And she stopped one of our team members and asked, what is this about? And after the team member explained to her, she said, but that is happening to me. I didn't know that was violence.
Wow.
That story stood out to me because it shows that our constant talking about gender-based violence, talking about the different forms it takes, let people understand that it's not just physical. Then, because some people, in Jamaica, we say, well, if him don't lick you, I'm not doing nothing. Understand? And that lady said, but this is happening to me.
Yes.
And she packed up her goods and she walked the rest of the journey with us.
Wow. That is so inspiring.
Somebody connected her with one of our social workers, and we got her in for counseling, looked at her situation, and by the next staging, she was on the platform giving
Testimony.
a testimonial for this event, which was just passing her by, saved her from a situation of domestic violence, where she was no longer living in the situation. She was now one of our ambassadors, and she was out there sharing her story with people.
Oh, that's
So,
a potent
that story is very critical for me, because people
Yes.
often ask, every year, get up and come out here with this thing.
Right.
Well, what is it for? What
Hey,
are
what
you
you
accomplishing?
achieving? Yeah.
Wasting time. And I always tell them, if every year we do this, we get one person like that, then for me it would have been worth it.
Yes.
And I can tell you that we get many over there.
Yeah. That's a very potent story. Yeah. Very, very inspiring story. How can we, we the average people out there, the communities out there, what can we do in your observations to make a difference, to make it better, to improve this, inclusivity? Because we're a major part of the problem sometimes.
Right. People, I always say to people, everybody try to think, how can I move mountains? You don't have to move mountains. if everybody make it their commitment, make it their responsibility to work in their space, whatever the space you're operating in. Your space could be your home. Your space could be your place of work. Your place could be your church. Your place could be the school where you work or attend.
Right.
Where all I ask is that the average person out there, your place may be the bar at which you drink.
True.
The man out there who drinks
right.
at a bar,
Yeah,
where he
yeah.
hangs out with his friends and play domino. Whatever your space is, if you promote inclusivity in your space, speak out when you hear people talking about stereotypes that we
Yeah.
know are not true. Speak out when you hear people are not being inclusive. Correct misinformation when you hear people being there. Stand up right there, your brethren, the man at the hangout spot. Your brethren that you play domino with, who you know is an abuser. Talk to him. Tell him that it is wrong. Tell him what is the correct thing to do. And if everybody takes some amount of responsibility in their little space, whatever it will, we will change the whole country by one space at a time.
Yes, well said, well said. What about volunteerism? Persons who might be interested in doing that with your organization, Mr. Layla, how do they go about that?
Absolutely. It is, the work we do is so vast, and, we never have, there's always, every year the budget gets more and there's never enough money to do as much as we want to do. So we have a very active volunteer program, and we depend on volunteers to help us to reach some of the people we reach, to carry on some of the services. So anybody out there who wants to volunteer, we are on all social media platforms. If you enter Jamaica AIDS Support for Life, you'll find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, which is now X, TikTok, all the most current social media platforms. We are there. You can go on any one of them, send a direct message to our page, and someone will respond to you and guide you as to how you can get on board to volunteer your services.
As we close shortly, what advice do you have for persons living with HIV/AIDS with regards to gender-based violence?
One of the things we emphasize with our clients: one, there are people who are HIV positive they know they are HIV positive, but because they are in a gender-based violence situation, they are not coming out. They are not coming to care. They are not keeping clinic appointments. And I just want the general public to understand. Many times we sit on our high seats and we cast judgment. Why would someone know they are HIV positive and not come to care? There's this woman in a relationship. She's being abused. She has a very controlling partner. She is deprived of all financial resources. The partner controls her every movement. He must accompany her everywhere she goes. But at this time, he doesn't even know that she's HIV positive.
Right.
So for that woman, she has to, in order to get to care, she has to first deal with the issue of disclosure. But in order to disclose, she has to deal with the issue that she may face further violence.
That's right.
And she has all of that to contend. So we say to people who are out there, any opportunity you get to reach out to us, we tailor our services to. We are very cognizant of these situations. We know how to deal with it. We go by the principle of do no harm. We will handle it to ensure that no further harm come to you as best as possible. So we say, reach out to us, send a message, and we will make every effort to work with you as best as possible to get you into care. And we want to say, those out there who are in care, we encourage you to stay in care. We remind people that our services go beyond prevention of and treating HIV. If there's anything happening in your life that increases your risk of contracting HIV or prevents you from taking care of yourself while you are positive, we will get involved in that. If it means legal, social intervention, whatever the case may be, we have holistic service. We have a full suite of services that does not just look at health, but the other social areas of one's life.
Okay, great, right. Very, very holistic for sure. Are there other marginalized groups that you advocate human rights for? And if so,
yes,
what
we actually do. Our programs extend to members of the LGBT community. We know that particularly men who have sex with men and sex workers are two of the higher risk groups of contracting HIV. And our advocacy involves some of the legislative shortfalls that cause these groups to continue to be marginalized, to be discriminated against, to be ill-treated, to be unable to access services. So we work with these groups. We work with the community of persons living with disabilities. We work. We have a special program, particularly with the deaf. We work with inner city youth, because we have to understand that the structural barriers and the social determinants of health are very broad. Some of these people, it's socioeconomic shortfalls that force them into even sexual practices, sexual favors for financial gain that cause people to end up even being HIV positive. So all of these groups that are vulnerable, whether because they belong to a particular group, members of the LGBT community, they have a disability, their socioeconomic status, we work with all these groups to try to empower them, improve their situation, so that they are not at that risk of being exploited by people who may intentionally want to harm them.
Right, okay. Persons are asking in particular, I know you mentioned these social media platforms. What are their phone numbers that persons can call in?
Yes, absolutely.
And they emphasize in confidentiality.
Could you repeat?
Also emphasizing that they're saying in confidentiality.
Oh, absolutely. So they can call 925-0021. We have offices across the island. We have an office in St. Ann, we have an office in Kingston, we have an office in St. James. These offices serve all the 14 parishes of Jamaica. But if you call 925-002122, that takes you to our head office, which, based on the information you provide, can connect you to the office nearest to you. Confidentiality is very critical for us, so I'm glad one of your listeners is asking about that, and we emphasize that as a non-discriminatory and inclusive organization. All of our employees have a confidentiality agreement as a part of their employment. And one of the things, anybody who works for us in any of our areas, and I mean our ancillaries, from our ancillary staff to our executive director, or drivers, or program managers, they all sign a confidentiality clause that allows us to circumvent the due process for dismissal and initiate immediate dismissal if a report of a breach of confidentiality is made against a staff member and it is substantiated. That warrants immediate dismissal.
Okay, very, very important. I'm sure that the listener is happy to hear that, because that's a big issue.
Yes. We understand that we deal with very sensitive information, and we want people to come to care, and we don't want people to have to be concerned about that. Okay, if I have an STI and if I come, is this going to reach back my community? Is it going to reach my friends? Is anybody who should know going to know? No. We take confidentiality very seriously, and I mean, outside of something as egregious, it is one of the key things
Yeah.
that will lead to immediate dismissal.
Okay.
Generally, you go through due process, people get a warning and all of that. But for a breach of confidentiality for us, it's immediate dismissal.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Wow, very, very informative. And I think the last time we had a representative for this rock program was World AIDS Day, if I remember clearly. And it was,
Right.
very, very, very informative. So, I just want to say, Mr. Layla, Advocacy Officer at the Jamaica AIDS Support for Life, we thank you so much for being here and specializing in human rights policy and advocacy. Thank you so much. It's been a great program,
Absolutely.
very informative, very, very informative. And Mr. Calman Barrett, board member for ROC, I had you for the first 20 or so minutes, so I had to make sure that Mr. Layla got his time in. Are you still there?
Yes, I just want to say one thing here that ROC as an inclusive organization, we are open to all marginalized group who wishes to become a part of the organization, regardless of race, gender, social class, educational level, etc. I just want to
that's important.
Let the public know that.
Yes, that's an important point to be made as well. So we thank you both, and of course we say thanks to all the members of ROC. We say a special good morning to all the members of the JASL. Thank you, and we look forward to speaking to you again sometime in the near future. Have a great day, my brothers.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me, and we look forward to coming again. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you. All the best. You're in tune to Roots FM 96.1 on the FM band. We didn't even take a middle break, but we're going to do that now before we head on into 10 o'clock for the Rootsology program. But those of you who are listening, those of you who are asking questions on my page, please, if you want, you can post those questions or you can speak to me, confidentially. Please do so. You can do that with me. And also, if you want to make statements on the Facebook page for Roots FM, or you have other questions, please do so. Or the numbers also were given, so you can also make your calls as well. All right? So we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come right back to the JIS presentation. And then, of course, at 10 o'clock, we have Rootsology on, we call it a Fire Friday, right? All right? So we'll soon come.
All business operators, are you looking for an affordable way to promote your business? Then look no further, as Roots 96.1 FM has the best advertising deals for you. Call or visit our office at 1 Mahone Drive, Kingston 11, and ask about our small business community package. Call or WhatsApp 1-876-574-0291 and benefit from this deal that will put your business on top of the map. Call now.
Let's unite to combat gender-based violence with the Women's Outreach Center, ROC. Join us while we cover GBV, I feel a business, I feel concern. Every Friday.